Welcome back to Ghost Powered Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today we talk about the best horror movies of 2021.
1 year.
Happy New Year, everyone! So with this weekend being New Year's, I thought it'd be fun to go over my 10 absolute favorite horror movies of 2021. Keep in mind though, this is just my list. Doesn't make it the right list, just simply mine. And I would love to hear what yours is, so down in the comments, let me know what your favorites of 2021 are. And with that, let's get to the list!
There's a new god in town, and his name? Psycho Goreman.
It was nice meeting you.
It would be nicer if you were dead.
Alright, bye.
So PG Psycho Goreman comes in at my number 10 spot, and this movie was so much fun. I definitely understand this movie's not for everyone, and if this was a critical list, of course this movie wouldn't be on it. But this isn't. This is a list of the movies that I had the most fun with, that I enjoyed in one way or another the most.
Your planet will be torn to pieces, and I will treat your angry screams as I rip.
Is this yours?
Straight up fun, silly goodness. It's like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with bunch of gory, bloody elements thrown in. The basic premise of this movie is this little girl finds this rock that controls this space alien, this dark lord type of dude who is just an absolute badass, but she controls him and he has to do everything she wants. Eventually these villain people come after him and he's got to fight them, and there's not a lot to this movie. It's mostly just a silly fun time, but that's the whole point of it. It isn't perfect by any means, but for a movie that is made to just simply be a good time, I had a blast with it.
They said they would be the foundation on which a new nation would be built.
From every mound, let freedom ring.
So I get it, Wrong Turn 2021 is probably one of my most controversial on this list. I know a lot of people hated this movie, but I had a good time with it. The thing is, it's not a wrong turn movie. It's really a wrong turn movie in name only. And so I get why a lot of people hated it for that. But if you're able to set that aside like I was, and I just watched it as its own thing, it's a pretty solid movie. The basic premise of this movie is this group of friends goes to the woods, goes hiking, and they stumble across this cult. And that's where it becomes very different from the original Wrong Turn movies. The original Wrong Turn movies were these weird inbred hillbilly type of psycho killers. There was just a few of them. Whereas this, it's a whole entire cult. But psycho, crazy, over-the-top stuff does start to unfold. It's just a much more serious movie. There's not nearly as much camp or silly fun to this movie, but I really enjoyed it for what it was. Is it perfect? No, but I did think it was a really well-made movie. And the ending of it is what really brought it home for me. I really love the ending of this movie. And make sure if you haven't seen it that you stay through the credits, because at the very last second this movie takes another turn and it is savage. So Last Night in Soho is my number 8 pick on this list, and I very much enjoyed this movie as well. Is this a groundbreaking movie? No, but it's beautifully shot, well acted, the cast does a really great job in it, and it's more of kind of a mystery type of movie. But it's very horror, especially by the end. Because going into this, I wasn't sure if this was even a horror movie. But as it comes towards the end, you start realizing, okay, this is definitely a horror movie. So this movie's about this young girl who designs clothes. She goes to Paris to attend this prestigious design school. And she stays in this apartment while she's going to school, and a ghost story kind of starts to unfold. I don't want to give anything away, but little by little, she kind of gets sucked into this reality, and it ends up taking a lot of twists and turns. It's one of those movies that I think once it comes out streaming will get a lot more buzz because it is a very enjoyable movie.
He's here.
So I absolutely loved Antlers. I know a lot of people are not feeling this movie. I kind of feel on an island in a lot of ways with it. And I get it. It's not a happy movie. It's not a fun movie. And everybody was going in expecting this creature feature, which it is. But it's also very different. This is a very dark movie, a very disturbing movie, an upsetting movie. Not a movie that you're going to have fun with. Not a gory movie, over-the-top creature feature stuff.
What's going on?
We found a part of a man in the woods today.
Part of the man?
I guess the other half was found in the mine.
However, it does have some very cool creature feature elements and moments, and the creature that is in it does look badass in my opinion. It's just not, I think, what most people were expecting. But it is an extremely well done movie, beautifully paced, well directed. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. The movie takes place in this really poor town in Portland, and they do such a good job of really putting you into this environment to where you can really feel the struggles and what these people in this city are going through. I think this movie is an absolute gem, but I know it isn't for everybody. But in my opinion, it definitely deserved to be my number 7.
Are you ready?
So Green Knight is one of the most beautiful movies I've seen in a long time. I'm not really sure if this movie is actually horror, so I debated putting it on this list or not, but in the end I decided to put it on here because it is A24 and it does have some creepy enough elements, some spooky type of environmental stuff, things that I did enjoy on a horror level. So because of that, I feel like it just barely sneaks in there. It's a very epic story that ties into the whole King Arthur legend and lore and all that I didn't know much about, and I had no idea that's what this movie was about when I went in. And so I was pleasantly surprised to find that out. But the way it's presented and the way it's paced throughout, so good. But once again, this is another movie that I know is not for everyone. It is a very artsy movie. It just feels like this epic, beautiful adventure. And if that's not your jam, then you're probably not gonna like this movie. In a lot of ways, it just feels like this epic, majestic painting come to life that I thoroughly enjoyed.
And that is your god.
She was here long before the apes started dreaming of gods.
So Gaia is another movie that I've seen a lot of mixed opinions and reviews on, and I, for the most part, understand that because this is another one of those slow burn movies that isn't downright scary, doesn't have a lot of gore, isn't exciting or fun. It's much more of this slow building dread type of situation where this woman finds herself in this jungle with this guy and his son, and she starts to slowly find out that things are not what they seem to be on the surface, and that there's some type of fungus that is slowly mutating and affecting people and creating these strange creatures and stuff.
She lives in the forest.
Who?
God.
But this movie had a way of kind of burrowing and getting under your skin and just really sticking with you and keeping you feeling off kilter and just not quite right with this strange, uncomfortable vibe throughout. And I very much appreciated it for that. I also really appreciated how this movie is small and yet it uses that to its advantage because it makes it feel grounded and it really kind of pulls you in to this environment and this situation. And like I said, it just kind of sticks with you for a while after. This to me is a movie that I definitely think is one of the best of the year.
Are we really in a Mexican standoff right now?
Baby, Don't say Mexican. Just stand up.
So Werewolves Within is a very different change of pace from everything else really that I've talked about so far. But this movie I had so much fun with. This is a horror comedy about this town that could possibly have a werewolf situation going on. And throughout the whole movie, you're not quite sure if there actually is a werewolf or if it's just people going nuts in this small town.
Everything here is a little questionable. Ranger! The people.
The whole setting of this movie is fantastic, and it's definitely one that would be a lot of fun to watch right now because the whole movie is in this town that's just covered in snow. And so it has this very Christmassy, wintry vibe to it. But this whole town is made up of just the most nutty, silly, funny cast. This movie is rare in a lot of ways because it's able to be funny and campy, but yet not be dumbed down and actually have well-written, intelligent humor that is just downright hilarious at times. It never forgets though that it is a horror movie, and so it definitely has some gore still and some really fun kills. Just in general, if you're looking for a movie to have a great time with, this movie is brilliant.
Our voice was soft and cold, our eyes were clear and bright, but she's not there.
So Titane is another movie that I've seen a lot of mixed opinions on, but I'm one of those people that loved it. It's weird. It's bizarre. I mean, it's basically about this woman who fucks a car. I mean, yeah. This movie is so bizarre, so weird and gory, but also has some of the most brilliantly done body horror I've seen in a very long time. Stuff that definitely makes you uncomfortable. There's nothing about this movie that sets right. It just feels awkward and strange throughout. I think it's a breath of fresh air though because it is so different, it is unique, and it does do a lot of things you don't generally see. I do know this is not for everyone because it is artsy and weird, and that's just not everybody's thing. But if you're into that kind of stuff, this is a brilliant movie and one that I think was one of the best of the year.
Who are you, Gabriel?
So Malignant has got to be the most controversial movie of the year for horror, at least from what I've seen, because it seems like everybody either absolutely hates this movie or totally loves it. And I'm in the camp of absolutely loving it. As you can see, it's my number 2 pick. I just really got what this movie was going for. It really had a lot of that campy throwback stuff to the 80s. It had some giallo type of elements. Just all these things that made it feel weird, but yet in a very fun, entertaining way.
He says his name is Gabriel. I think he's someone from my past.
It's definitely a different movie, and I get why not everyone got on board with this, because it plays that schlocky, campy thing to the nines. It's meant to be just silly, weird, bizarre, goofball city. It's just a vibe, man. It's not a vibe that everyone is gonna be able to vibe with. Something you just cannot take serious, but it's presented in this kind of serious way. It definitely caught people off guard, and I think that's also part of why it didn't go over so well with some people.
Mom, what do you know?
It has just the coolest special effects in a practical way. It looks amazing with some of the most awesome camera work I've seen in quite a while. Just in general, the way this movie's shot, the way it's presented, it's just a fun horror movie, and I loved it for that.
Safe from what?
So The Night House is the last movie, my number one pick of the year, and I knew from the moment I walked out of the theaters that this was going to be my number one. This movie is brilliant, and it is such a shame that not more people have checked this film out. It got pretty much no publicity. It was in and out of the theater for just a moment. You don't hear anyone talking about this, and it is brilliant. It's the only movie this year that actually I thought was scary. It had some very creepy moments, some very scary elements.
It's our house. But backwards. What the hell was he doing?
It wasn't a movie trying to reinvent the wheel. Instead, it just kind of took things that we've seen in horror and spun it in just a slightly different way to where nothing ever felt like something you had seen. Overall, this movie is so dark and so disturbing and so creepy, but yet without losing sight that it's entertainment. There's still an entertaining quality to it. It's not depressing, and yet it is downright disturbing and scary. I love this movie, and I really think it deserves some more eyes. I really hope that when it comes out streaming, like on Netflix or Shudder or wherever, that more people check it out because it's so well done and really, really deserves more attention. But without a doubt, it is my number one. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me today. Please leave your comments down below. Let me know what your favorite movies of the year were. And also, if you could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week, I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to my patrons, because you guys, your support seriously means so much to me. And if you would like to find out more about becoming a patron, the link is down in the description. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember guys, horror can be fun. I will see you guys next time.